My friends, we got a classic for you today. The death and return of Superman on the original Super Nintendo. This is my first time playing this game. I played it for like 5 minutes to make sure it worked before I went live. And wow, they really kicked my butt playing this game. So I'm looking to get in hard on them. Yeah, you like getting in hard, don't you, Jerry? If you're new here, you will love watching and subscribing because I play a different game every single day, always, almost always, live. So you can find new games, retro games, and everything in between to play. We have life-changing conversations here. That's why people watch, and that's why you'll want to watch deep in and see what crazy stuff I get to talking about. So let's stick it in. Cranberoni, thanks for hitting that like button first. The Awakened Satan Within Christ, Steve Riley, and Aaron. Nice to see you all. Let's start this game off, baby. Let's see if we can at least beat the first level. Since I only play games one time, I really want to put on the best showing I can for just playing a game one time. That was my old nickname at the police department, one time, because I'd bang a girl one time, and then that'd be it. She wouldn't want it again, or I wouldn't want it again, either way. Alright, I hit start. Let's start this game off. Let's see what this is all about. What's up, Kevin? Thanks for watching from Lakeland, Florida. I saw somebody else playing this game on YouTube, and I'm like, I gotta try that. I'd love your game recommendations. I read every comment on my YouTube channel. I'd love for you to help us reach 11 million subscribers. I've got over 200 games I'm looking to play. And I'd love any requests for games you'd like me to play. There's a little bit of story to start this thing out. Okay. We're in now. Let's go. Nice. So I put this in square. Because this is the original resolution of the game. That way my big body and face don't have to get in the way. Oh, Jerry, what'd you do today? I went to yoga this morning, checked out all the hot chicks there and stretched my body. Faced all my negative feelings in my mind. Look at this. He can hover. He can definitely just... Look at that. He's Superman. Oh, for real, I love all the beautiful women that are at yoga. And all the men that are taking care of themselves that are at yoga, too. I love doing yoga. Ah! Can't feel my legs! Charlie Murphy! Next time, you gotta fly over that, Superman. Don't just let that electricity hit on you. Went to yoga, went to Fresh Market to get some vegan cheese this morning. Had a couple of burritos to eat today. Superman, why are you letting these demons whoop your ass? Down to four hit points already. I'm listening to these. Dang, he punched me right in my super balls! Hit me right in the super nuts! Some people like, Jerry, you're the only one I can watch play these retro games because nobody else has a personality. Well, some people don't want a personality, they just want gameplay. If you want a personality, I got that. He got it. Oh, he got all the personalities inside him. Oh, I don't really know how to describe it. Baby, you got some incredible skills. Night Phoenix, nice to see you today. What's up, Aniket Myrtle Ash? Thanks for watching. The stream's so popular, I've already banned one person. Just started it. Take my super fist in your face! See, if I put a costume on and go around beating people up, do you think I'll be a superhero? Or do you think I'll get arrested? I laugh at the ideas of good and evil, oh, he's got this S on his chest and these demons must be bad because they're ugly. If I put a suit on and go beat some ugly people up, I think I'm gonna get arrested. I don't think anybody's gonna celebrate that. Ah! Myrtle Ash, thanks for being lucky 7. Thank you for hitting that like button. The like button helps us. The like button's like a little bit of sex, and every now and then when we hit the like button, you get the channel pregnant, and we grow. We grow with new subscribers. Come on, Igor. Shouldn't I say I'm sorry? Like, I'm sorry for beating you up, Igor. Maybe Igor was a nice little demon that had a family and friends and a supportive community, and I just... Here I come with a little S on my chest, ruining his day. This dude's got a flying machine, that's cool. That's cold-blooded, he just knocks him out of the flying machine, throws it at him. This is cool now, and usually in platforming games, you can't just float like this. Myrtle Ash says no kids though? Hey, it's not a regular. Somebody coming in looking to be cute got banned. I hadn't hidden anybody that wasn't a bot for a few streams, that's good. Who wants to get a car in the face? Igor, you look like you want a car in the face. Then again, I guess you were asking for it if you had a minigun. Katie, what's up, Katie? Nice to see you today. It's not an S? Wait, what? How are you doing today, Katie? What are you up to on Saturday? I did some yoga. I had a good talk with my friend, too. He said he's always afraid he's gonna cheat on his girl. I'm like, I think that's just normal. You know, I think that's what it's like being a dude normally. And maybe some of you ladies, do any of you ladies have that sensation that you're afraid you're just gonna suddenly bang somebody else? I've worked through that a whole lot. And now I have absolute trust and confidence in myself that at no point will I lose control of myself and forget that I've agreed to be monogamous with my wife. I can bang whoever I want. I just gotta have a discussion with my wife about it first. And her point of view is if I want somebody to have a little fun like that with somebody else, then I don't get to have fun with her anymore, which is fair enough. And human bodies are so similar too, you know, I've been with enough girls to know that, you know, yeah, there's a chemistry between two people, and the best sex is really with someone you've been with and you know well. You could make an analogy to video games. It's gonna put me on the losing side of this, unfortunately, but would you rather watch somebody play a video game who's playing it for their first time, doesn't hardly know what they're doing? Or would you rather watch somebody who's really good at a video game play it and rock it? See, now y'all are like, why are we watching you suck it, have one-night stands with video games every day? Well, that's a good question. Woo! Just drop it on him. Put it down on me! This poor bastard's not ready for Superman. This is too easy. You just dumped on him. Anakin, are you gonna go further into uploading any crypto videos? No, I've been asking and praying for and setting a lot of guidance and focus on my YouTube channel. I'm looking forward and making like a 20-year plan for my YouTube channel. And what I see is, it's time for me to pick something to create on YouTube and stick to it indefinitely. I've created on YouTube for 11 years. I made over 3,000 videos and live streams. It's time to pick something and stick with it. And I've questioned it a whole bunch, but I don't see anything better I can offer on YouTube than live gaming. And specifically to play a different game every day. Almost nobody. Please tell me if you know of somebody who never streams the same game twice. I want to get to know them. I don't know anybody who has a rule that they never stream the same game twice. And actually has a personality. You know, there's channels that just do long plays. There's a good number of channels that just play different games. But they're not, you know, they just do like no commentary gameplay. The thumbnails are just generic. I don't know anybody who's got a personality who just plays variety games. So it looks to me, and what I love is doing that, I can say and talk about anything I want to in my YouTube videos. I don't have to lock myself into one subject. I've noticed that I cannot stick with one subject over a long period of time. I get bored with it. You know, I like talking crypto for a while, but then I get sick of talking crypto. You know, I like talking, you know, spirituality, inspiration, near-death stories, book reviews. Well, I can kind of just talk all that while I'm playing a video game. And which is a more interesting background, this or this? Yeah, look at this. I want to play all these games up here. You know, you can see that this is a much more interesting background. We can essentially have the same conversations. So I'm not planning to do anything ever again on my YouTube channel except play different games every day. This dude on a bike needs to... Wow. Alright, you know what we're gonna do? Wow, we're gonna get smoked again. I'm gonna drop the super balls on that dude. Dude, I played this for like 5 minutes. You buy like these old games like this. This game was $78. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think this $78 game was worth it? Woo, he can hit back and forth hella quick. That's awesome. Did you see that? How fast I was swinging back and forth? Cranberoni says, what's your favorite kind of sandwich? My mind was trying to come up with something vulgar, but I've been into breakfast bean burritos and breakfast burritos. That's what I really am into. Ah! Stuck the chainsaw on my super nuts. I hope I didn't lose a ball. Mr. Chainsaw is doing surprisingly well against Superman. Alright, you know what? Oh. I'm gonna drop the nuts on this motorcycle dude again. Nobody multitasks like Jerry Bear. I do it. It's cool to see somebody who chats like I do. I feel like Gaston. Don't nobody play games and talk like me. What have I missed? Katie said your ex did, apparently. I know it seems a lot of dudes struggle with wanting to cheat. But then who are all these women that are cheating with all these dudes anyway? Steve says, I've always been a pretty loyal guy, never had a problem with worrying I'm gonna bang someone else. That's great, and I know some dudes that are very loyal, that don't have that issue. Like, they're not, you know, they're not wondering if they're gonna just bang a dude all of a sudden. I mean, whatever, bang a dude, a chick, whoever it is. That's nice to know. And I guess there's some guys that don't have to struggle with that at all, and there's some girls that do have to struggle with it. Oh, his dude hit his teammate right in the face with that. I like these old school beat 'em ups. Alex Saunders, $78. I'll trade this thing back in for. Ooh, look at this dude. I don't know whether to hope he's better than the last boss, but that last boss just laid down and gave it up. Oh, thank you. I wanted a little bit of action. That last boss was too easy. This dude doesn't. This dude's not a joker like the last dude. Ah! Alright, we gotta use a little bit of strategy on this fella. Doomsday. Doomsday can punch super nuts right out of the air. Woo! I threw him! There we go. Open. Yeah, tell me what your favorite sandwich is. Steve likes an open face roast beef. Katie says, I think making a short of each of your game will get views. I've tried that and it didn't. I appreciate any suggestions you've got for me though. I have tried making little shorts of games. I would also like to ideally just create content in one format. But yeah, I tried creating shorts for games that never, it did not work at all. But I appreciate always like the suggestions. One woman at a time is all the headache I need. Right? I'm telling you, I really appreciate the simplicity of having one woman. Because, you know, it's easy to remember her name and what she likes. It's easy to show up and be there consistently for her. You know, I don't think most women are looking to be a backup bitch for me. I don't think there's any woman out there that would love to be my backup bitch. Like, oh, what would you like to be when you grow up? I want to be somebody's backup bitch. That's what I want to be. How many times are you going to say backup bitch? That's so sexist. No, it's not. I think sexism, racism, and all these wars between religions are things for poor people and for the middle class to get distracted with. Seriously, because can you picture, you know, a black billionaire meets a white billionaire? Nobody's racist in that interaction. It's like, oh, you got $1 billion, I got $1 billion. All right, let's figure out how to screw everybody else over so we can keep our $1 billion. I think the real, if you want a conflict, the real conflict is people who have huge amounts of influence and money versus everybody else. And yeah, I don't picture at the highest levels there's much discrimination. You know, it's like, let's distract everybody. Yeah, let's get them, make them fight based on their race. Yeah, make them fight based on their gender. Because imagine if all the poor people looked around and said, why the hell do these few people have all the money, make all the decisions, get to do whatever the hell they want to, while my ass has to go to work every day and struggle? See, they gotta keep all the poor blacks and the poor whites and, you know, the poor Asians. Everybody's gotta all fight and hate each other. Because what if all the poor whites and blacks and Asians and men and women, everybody that was poor and middle class looked around and said, what the hell? What the hell are these people doing with all this money and influence? What if that happened? Then you couldn't just tell people what to do and stick people in masks and tell them to stay home and get a shot and do whatever you're told and be glad for everything you have. No, people look around and say, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, this dude, we're gonna make 18, think about it, there's some people out there that have 17 or 18 cars that are all nicer than yours. So there are some people who have 17 or 18 cars that are all nicer than yours. All of them. They have 5 houses, you'd be lucky to have 1. Now, you can see, if you want to keep your 17 or 18 cars in a garage, you gotta trick everybody else into making you all this nice shit and letting you doing all these things for you while you do almost nothing for everybody else. So I think all these ways of keeping us divided are, you should never fight with your neighbor based on anything like race, gender, sexism, you know, religion, all that's bullshit. At the highest levels, the rich, the billionaire Christian, the billionaire Muslim get along just fine. And if they don't, then they go to war with each other. But they don't go to war over anything superficial. It's like, well, you're not gonna let me do what I want. I want to impose my will on you, so love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor. Never buy into stupid stuff like all the propaganda you see out there. Your neighbor should be on your team. And this is why I want to just title my stuff based on the game, because, you know, if I title a video, you know, racism's for poor people, you know, that might not go, that's, you know, it's too easy to get people all upset about it. But that's what I believe that. You know, I think that those that are in power go to any lengths to get power and to stay in power. And the one thing you absolutely can't have, like, look at the last 2 years. During the last 2 years, a massive amount of money was printed, which means your money was devalued. And if you didn't get a piece of the huge amount of money that was printed, you got screwed. And the strategy that's used is, let's keep everybody distracted, afraid for their safety, and then they'll do what we tell. Dude, are we back on? Hey, you know I was saying some real shit. They got me right there. They turned my computer off. They straight up turned my computer off, made my computer lock and freeze. I don't know if that's exactly what happened or not, but isn't it funny? My computer, which never locks and freezes, suddenly locked and froze during that discussion. Like, stop him! He's telling them all to work together. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying let's work together. Let's work together. Let's not fight among ourselves. Don't fight among ourselves. We need to work together. Don't believe the lies that they tell you. Let's work together. Let's help each other. Let's take care of each other. We're all equal here. We're all equal here. Don't believe anything besides that. They got me though. They got me. They straight turned my computer off. You play one of these with an emulator? That's nice. Crambaroni says, I had no idea this game would be so good looking. It is pretty good looking. Corey says the US dollar is going to 0. I believe that. That's why I got 1 Bitcoin. Hey, what's up? Kung Fu Classic says, what do you think of Andrew Tate? See, I love the Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is the one who said, and he is half black, half white. He said that racism is for poor people. He's half black, half white. He's lived all over the world. He says, and he's the one who said the analogy. He's like, do you think the black billionaire and the white billionaire are sitting there being racist towards each other? No. They're figuring out what they can do to make sure they keep their wealth. They're working together. They're on team. They're on the same team. They're probably plotting how to make people, make them go crazy about racism, make them afraid for their lives. Then they'll stay in their houses while we print a whole bunch of money. Then they'll fight amongst themselves. They won't notice that we're printing money and stealing their wealth. They'll think it's racism or sexism or religion, or they won't understand why they have to work all day in debt slavery. Yeah, and I shared a video from Andrew Tate recently. And there's people like Andrew Tate out there saying this stuff, making these points very clear in the open. I prefer to operate, after based on my previous experience, I prefer to operate a little bit more discreetly. I play video games, and then, from the outside, you can't tell what we're talking about in here. It just looks like on the outside, I'm playing some Superman. But my real message is, let's work together. We are all one. And even the power-hungry ultra elites, they're all one too. They're all one with us. They are equals. We are all truly equals. Let's remember that. Your voice really matters in this world. What you do really matters in this world. And your life is just as worthwhile as whoever else's life. Katie said, thought it was just my internet. I know, wasn't that funny? Like right in the middle of one of these little conspiracy talks, my computer locks up. Yeah, I love YouTube is a great platform. YouTube's taking much more of a middle ground, which is really nice. Like Facebook is an extreme left platform. And there are no extreme right social media platforms. Maybe Truth Social is going in that direction. I don't use it. I just signed on to it, but nobody following me. Why would I post on it? But right now, Facebook's an extreme left platform. You know, if you blatantly go against extreme left, I would like to see a political system that takes better care of the middle. Because what happens is the primary system lends itself to extremism. But what we really need, we need moderates. You know, it doesn't really matter whether it's a moderate Democrat or a moderate Republican. What we need to stop is stop having these extremists. And unfortunately, we often, at least lately, you know, Obama was pretty extreme left. Trump was pretty extreme right. And now we got Joe Biden that just does whatever he's told to do by, it seems, the extreme left. So I'd like to see a system. Let's make something that's much more fair. Dang, these dudes are hitting. Oh, I'm not dead yet. Dropped a teabag on him. Good to see. Hey, Kung Fu Classics, I'm glad you liked the retro gaming back. I looked through the recent games I played and I realized I haven't played a retro game in a little while. One of my challenges is figuring out what the hell game do I play. I'm grateful you see this game collection. This is the tip of the iceberg back here. You know, I got a lot of games I can choose from. Yeah, I like these beat 'em up games. There's so many of them, and they're pretty easy to just pick up and play and talk over. It's real nice. Corey says Super Jerry. Yeah, let's go, baby. I'm glad on YouTube my computer can completely freeze and I can still easily come back. Since this game's on Super Nintendo, I thought the game froze, but my whole PC froze. Dude, he turns back and forth pretty quick. So I appreciate your love and support here. You know, I try and have conversations that are mind-opening, that are mind-expanding. I'm really happy to see the progress we've made as a human. I think we came a really long way. Think about it, like 200 years ago. Well, 200 years ago, there were still slaves in this country. I mean, we've done pretty good in 200 years. You know, for most of 2,000 years, there didn't appear to be much human progress overall. But in the last 200 years, we made a lot of progress. And one of the most interesting things I've heard lately, there's a black professor at maybe Stanford. His name is Thomas Sowell. He puts out a lot of controversial videos because he says things that, like, nobody else says. For example, he put this video out called Facts About Slavery They Don't Teach You in School. And the craziest thing in it is he said that in the antebellum South, like Louisiana, where there were some black slaves were freed, that some of the blacks owned slaves. Now, some of them was just like a husband who owned his wife, because it was easier than trying to get his wife free, so he just bought his wife from the slave owner. But there were some blacks who actually owned slaves the same way that whites owned slaves. Like, they had slaves on their own plantation, just like the whites did. And, you know, hearing something like that just kind of shatters your little bubble, you know, the textbook bullshit you get in school of like, oh yeah, you know, like some simple story. Well, whites had slaves and oppressed blacks and were racist. Like, no, it was people who wanted to oppress and exploit other people, and that's what they did. It was about power and money. And I love, there's a whole wave, there's a lot of black YouTubers that are then watching these videos and reacting to them. And it's beautiful to see people learning and growing and evolving and waking up, you know, breaking out of these narratives of separation. It's beautiful. So I'm very excited about the future. Very excited. I think we have a fantastic future coming. King Dre Day, nice to see you. Hey, King Dre Day. I have loved King Dre Day's been playing some different games on his YouTube channel. And those, you know, if, like King Dre Day, if you've done a Warzone stream and I've missed it, I'm generally not going to click on that because, you know, I'm generally not going to click on anybody playing Warzone anymore anyway. However, you know, let's roll back 2 weeks ago before I made a rule that I'm not going to play the same game twice again. And as a general rule, you don't want to watch a game that you don't want to play. Like, if I watch enough Warzone, I'll want to play it, so I don't watch it. However, like Murder Show, I would rarely click on any of his streams after he was live. Because, well, he's not live anymore. You know, I can't chat with him or anybody else. But King Dre Day, when you play that Batman, the one I commented a bunch on, Batman Arkham Asylum, I clicked on that and I watched like 5 minutes of it after you were live, and see, that's where the magic happens. And I noticed you playing some other games too, which is great, because if I'm interested in a game, or if I've never seen a game before, basically there's a lot of scenarios where you could play a game and I'll click on it and watch it because I'm interested in both the gameplay and I'm interested in seeing you playing it. Whereas like with Warzone, I'm not interested in the gameplay. So I don't want to watch anybody play Warzone ever again. You know, I watched this video of, what was this dude? Tim the Tap Man made a video of Connor Dose cheating at Warzone and, you know, dropping like 16 kills at a riot shield and sticks. He's obviously got wall hacks, probably aimbot on his stuns and his throwing knives. And I'm like, this is why nobody should play Warzone. Because it's so easy to just get some hacks, ruin the game for everybody else, and then get celebrated for it. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of this entire thing anymore. Either that or I should start cheating too, one of the two. I'll cheat and make as good of videos as he does. So I was looking forward to whenever you came through the stream, so I could let you know that, you know, I am not going to play the same game twice anymore, and I'm very interested in watching different games too. So I think that could do, I think variety, there's a huge opportunity to play different games on YouTube because almost everybody plays the same games, and anytime almost everybody does the same thing, there's a huge opportunity to do the opposite. Like how on Warzone, I did so well on my Warzone stream because almost everybody played aggressive, and I had the audacity to camp and you know, and promote it. Like, look how much I'm camping right now. And people were nasty on my live stream, so nasty about me camping. But I was able to grow a lot on my Facebook because I played differently than most people you'd watch. Justin says my favorite black man. I don't know. There's a lot of other black men you might like, and I personally feel most identified with God. You know, that none of us. Who I am is not this mind or this body. And therefore, you know, I'm damn sure I'm not just limited to one race and one gender and one job and one wife. Like, who I am is potential. Who all of us are is potential. You know, what you remember from the past is the smallest part of who you are. Just imagine all the ways you could be. And just imagine all the places you could go, all the people you could date, all the jobs you could do, and then picture all the potentials of you. Those are all you. Now, I have a lot of dreams where I'm not this body. I have no memory of this body or this life. And yet, I'm still me. I have a different personality, a different physical appearance. I've had dreams where I've been an alien. I've had dreams where I've been an android, a robot. And I've had dreams where I've been a ball of energy. Like an orange collection of atoms, you could basically think of it. So my main identification is God, or essence, energy, spirit. Everything else is just temporary. But yes, if there's not an option to put no race, I would prefer that none of us identify with a race anymore. That is my preference. You know, to me, changing my race is a step towards, you know, let's stop identifying with races. Let's see how ridiculous the entire idea of race is. Let's just be human. Let's just be God. Let's all be one. Let's be part of the one consciousness. Let's all be Christ consciousness. Let's do that. But if I do ever have to pick a race, I will put black. I don't know if they allow you to put no race or prefer not to say on the census or not. I'm gonna find out though. I've also taken any video that's not a gaming video and I've made it unlisted because I don't want to be controversial on the surface anymore. You gotta come in and get the controversy for yourself. Let me catch up in the chat. Oh, that's a good question, Kung Fu Classics. I'll answer that. Oh, that's interesting. So, Myrtle says Thomas Jefferson owned his kids because if they were harmed in any way, there would be retribution in court. That's interesting. There's so much depth to life. Alright, so Kung Fu Classics says if you did 100 more gaming videos and we're still getting 15 to 20 concurrent viewers, would you consider doing something different? No, because what I'm really most interested in is the long term. Like, I played Castlevania the other day, and that got more viewers after I was live than while I was live. So I honestly prefer less concurrent viewers. I've had streams with over 2,000 people watching concurrently before, and I much prefer like what we got right here. We got a nice small group chatting. I know almost everybody in the chat. It's a very nice experience for me, and it's a pretty good experience for you. What I see with playing different games every day is, you know, the odds of me getting views for the long term are the best. And that means in the short term, there might not be much action in the short term, but I've been on YouTube for 11 years now, and I've noticed, you know, it's important to stop thinking short term. We need to think long term, like a 20-year plan for my YouTube channel. And in 20 years, I could play 10,000 different video games on my channel. And I guarantee you, I play 10,000 different games on my channel. Will easily average 10,000 views per game. Because, you know, some games will go off. You know, when you realize you can watch me play all these different games, people will, you know, get familiar with me, find me on multiple games. You know, if I play 10,000 games over 20 years, I'll easily get 10,000 views a game. And that'll turn into a lot of views. You know, 10,000 times 10,000, what is that? That adds up to 100 million. I'll easily get 100 million views in the next 20 years on YouTube. In the short term, though, not much may look like it's happening. But one thing I find is helpful is to, if you're going down a path and you want some reassurance, one thing I like to do is pray for a sign. You know, God, give me your highest self. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. I'm not that innocent. So I asked today during yoga, I'm like, give me a sign. Give me a sign that things are going well. And the message I got was, well, that Castlevania stream is, you know, that went out to thousands of people after you were live. Got some new viewers. You've been getting new subscribers on almost every live stream. Are those not signs? Like, yeah, those are signs, aren't they? If you just keep doing that over and over again, there's gonna be steady, consistent growth, and there'll be a little bit of viral growth here and there. So, what I'm doing is I'm making a formula I can use indefinitely. Katie, this is the level you lost on? Nice. Corey says, I'm still hoping Jerry will spend more times on crypto games. I'm definitely planning to play some crypto games, some more crypto games. I was just researching some more crypto games this morning. Hey, King Dre Day says, thanks for stopping by. I'm tired of Warzone. I'm getting cut while I'm reading that. I'm one of those average players where I'm not great, but I can hold my own. And if you're not great streaming Warzone, there's no growth and it's not enjoyable. Exactly. You know, that watching Tim the Tap Man promote Connor Dose the Cheater, you know, made it very obvious. It's like, look, if I'm not gonna cheat at Warzone, and if I'm not gonna grind Warzone 8 hours a day, I mean, I was grinding Warzone for hours a day before, and I got to be, you know, I knew so much. I knew all the spots. You know, I was winning anywhere from 5 to 20% of my solo games during my streams. You know, sometimes even higher than that when they had the Juggernaut Easter egg. I won 5 solo games in one stream before on Verdansk. That was crazy. Yeah, and it's so easy to just play different games and to have an audience because hardly anybody does that. Whereas, yeah, Warzone, it's like, if you're not going to be great at it, if you're not going to make gameplay that's really amazing to watch, which a lot of people unfortunately do by cheating, because it's easy to make great gameplay by cheating, whereas it takes a lot of, and if you actually put in the work and you cheat, well, now you just got a magic success formula. Myrtle says, what's a more taboo topic, religion or politics? I say slavery. Well, I think it really helps us to talk about taboo topics, which is why I want to be able to talk about taboo topics in a way that's not overtly controversial. You know, where it's not obvious that you know, somebody just scrolling through YouTube. That's what I learned with the, you know, Facebook demonetization, the Udemy ban. You know, if you're gonna be overtly controversial, you need to have a support system set up for that. And you need to really own that too. You can't just occasionally be overtly controversial. It doesn't work out very well. You either need to really own that, like, you know, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate, Russell Brand. You know, you really need to own the overt controversy if you're gonna go that route. You know, Bill Burr, you need to just own that if that's gonna be your route. I don't want to be overtly and obviously controversial. I want to be subtly controversial, like, oh, he's playing Death and Return of Superman, but this conversation's surprising. See, I don't ever want to be overtly controversial, at least on my channel. Now, if you take an isolated clip of something I say and upload it on your YouTube channel, then that also doesn't, you know, that's not going to go out to my whole audience. And I don't have to deal with the repercussions of it either, in most cases. Like, if you put out a video of mine where if you clip, and you are welcome to clip anything I say. if you clip something I said that single-handedly is controversial, then I don't have to deal with the consequences of it on my account. And it'd actually be a little bit difficult for me to get any consequences on it. I mean, because somebody'd have to go in, look through my channel, find exactly where I said it, and then it'd be in context. So I've learned... Hey, what's up, Harry's? Oh, nice to see you today. You want me to play some Super Ghouls? Thank you for the recommendation. Lisa said, who's the guy? Is Thomas Sowell. He identifies as a black professor at Stanford, I believe, is the university. But he's a university professor who's put out these videos that challenge the narratives we're given. I've found some of the most controversial things to say if, you know, people judge you have white skin. I've been wondering, like, what are some of the more controversial things that if you've got black skin that, you know, you absolutely, people really hate on you for. And apparently it's challenging the narrative. It seems that if you're black and you're a conservative, that can be pretty rough. And encouraging personal responsibility. Like, hey, we don't need to be blaming anybody else. Let's take control of our own fate. Let's take care of our own people. Let's raise our kids. Let's stop shooting each other. You know, one of our challenges in life is that we get these narratives that are out of context. Like you see that, you know, white police officer kills black suspect, you know, and everybody gets so upset, but that's out of context. Because what should be included in a story like that is relevant statistics. Like, for every time a white officer kills a black suspect, there's lots of black officers that shoot black suspects, white officers that shoot white suspects. People don't get upset about that very often. And there's probably, you know, anywhere from 10 to 100, you know, white people that shoot white people, black people that shoot black people, and again, for some reason, there's no manipulation around those subjects. You know, a white officer having violence against a black suspect is relatively rare compared to everything else that happens. Compared to, you know, just regular white on white, black on black, you know, regular everyday violence. You know, police violence is rare compared to regular old everyday violence. You know, and then something as drastic as, you know, like a white officer killing a black suspect is very rare. And it might even be possibly manipulated somehow. For example, through use of, you know, the suspect and or the officer being put in some kind of secret mind control program and intentionally put in a situation like that just for the purpose of creating a news story. And, you know, there's a guy named Alex Jones who suggested some of the mass shootings that's the cause, that there's these secret mind control programs that actually intentionally create the suspects and the shootings. And that these are run by, like, Illuminati, you know, shadow operators that can be traced to some of the richest, wealthiest people in the world are actually... He got banned. Alex Jones got banned from all social media for, you know, he did it with a specific incident, and, you know, there was this massive outrage, and he got banned over that. And to me, that's something we need to consider. When you see something on the news, is this an authentic situation with an authentic narrative? And in most cases, it's not. Like COVID. COVID was an authentic situation. It seems that there is a virus that does kill people. An inauthentic narrative behind it. The narrative making it seem much more dangerous than it actually is. You know, when if the statistics were constantly put up, like, yeah, this kills a few more people than the flu. Would you be scared and staying at home and wearing a mask and getting a shot? No! You'd be like, okay, so this is a little bit worse than the flu. Well, we've dealt with the flu for a long time. This isn't a big deal. And our entire culture is filled with little bits of truth, heavily manipulated narratives. Like, I look at, you got the, you know, so many people were so upset before about this white officer killing this black person. It's like, how do you know that white officer and that black suspect weren't both having bad days and both didn't manifest that situation irregardless of race? You know, it's irresponsible to even suggest that race played a part in that. It's just, why does it have to be about that? Why can't it just be, look, this police officer, hey, I've been a police officer. You do not ever want to have a day like that. You don't want to shoot anybody. And for better or worse, you definitely don't want to shoot a minority. Like, that's pretty far down on your things you would really not want to happen list. So I'm here to help give a different perspective on it. Let's all work together. Let's question every mainstream narrative needs to be thoroughly questioned. If it's on the news, it needs to be thoroughly questioned. Like, is this really what's happening? Is that the truth? Is the truth being manipulated? Once you start to be aware of it, it's easy to read. Like climate change. The climate change narrative has been heavily manipulated. And it's intentionally used to try and crush certain things that are a threat to certain people. Like Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin uses so much energy, it's bad for the environment. Bullshit! Dryers use a bunch of energy and are bad for the environment. And nobody's out there trying to make more efficient. Who's out there hanging their damn clothes because of how much energy dryers use? The fact is, societies, higher level civilizations tend to use more energy. And all this like, oh, we're carbon neutral. I'll tell you what's not carbon neutral. Or what you have all this focus on carbon dioxide, but plants naturally use carbon dioxide. Having some extra carbon dioxide is not that big of a deal. I mean, we shouldn't just be putting we should be aware of it, but it's not that big of a deal. Plants will naturally use up carbon dioxide. Things like methane, one of the biggest causes of global warming is cows farting. Cows farting put out tons of methane, and methane contributes to global warming. Now, do you ever see in the supermarket, you know, some cow's ass factor listed on the meat you buy? No. Even though cows farting and you eating meat contributes very strongly, not just to global warming, but to deforestation, to, disease. Meat often, though, especially certain ways it's raised, is associated with less health, more disease. Do you hear about that? No, it's because somebody in power decided you should focus on carbon dioxide and you should not focus on methane coming out of cows' asses. They both contribute to global warming, but somebody in power has decided that we should use global warming to shit on Bitcoin, and then let's not mention how cows contribute to global warming. Because if people know how much cows contribute to global warming, they might not buy all this meat. People have decided that you should go see your doctor instead of going to see your massage therapist. It's like you want to question everything. And that's why we need to work together. The video is Monroe's Corner. Yes, I shared that video. So Monroe's Corner reviewed a Thomas Sowell video, and it's so amazing. Harry says you support that you're black and bi like me. Hey, thanks a lot. Steve says we hang our clothes in the summer. Yeah, I mean, dryers use shitloads of energy. And who goes around Whoever mentions the energy impact of dryers besides me? But yet, all these dumbass blockchains on their little things talk about how energy efficient they are. Oh, but you know what they don't say? That our proof of stake consolidates wealth, contributes to wealth inequality, and allows for centralized control of our blockchain. I love getting out here and just, you know, I don't have a problem with the way the world is. I just am here to help open your mind and your heart. I think the world is beautiful. It provides all kinds of opportunities for us to work together. And, you know, I think these challenges are opportunities to help each other and evolve. You know, one could argue the world would be incredibly boring if all there was truth and kindness and love and joy. There might not be anything to do. All right, we need to drop. These dudes are laying me out. So I love that there's so much to do in this world. And I believe everybody's doing their best. You know, the billionaires who are pushing these narratives and are only doing what's logical. You know, if you have 18 cars and you have the ability to shut people up who are not going along with your narratives, I mean, for better or worse, it's kind of logical. I can't say that I wouldn't do it. I mean, I can say I probably wouldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? Katie says, do birds ever poop on the clothes? They might. They might. Lisa says, I used a dryer during off-peak times. That's great. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things we could do. Like, if we really care about energy usage, there's tons of things we could do to limit energy usage, but what's interesting to see is how certain narratives like climate change, like racism, sexism, are manipulated. They're manipulated and the relevant facts, the relevant counterpoints are hidden and shoved under the rug. And there's this one little narrative that's pitched. And it's used as a weapon. It's like with the Bitcoin energy, it's used, the climate change, you know, the energy thing is used as a weapon against Bitcoin, but it's not used as a weapon against the beef industry. Which leads you like, well, why is it climate change is, and there was a guy who did a documentary, he did an entire documentary on this. He went to like the Sierra Club and all these environmental and climate change organizations, and he's like, why? He's like, science has proven that methane has a huge impact on global warming. Why is nobody mentioning this? He's like, why is nobody mentioning the impact of cows and methane on global warming? Everybody's talking carbon dioxide. Science has shown, Kevin, I was trying to get, I don't know why I said Kevin. Science has shown very clearly that methane from animal livestock is making a huge difference on global warming. More, if I recall my facts, animals and animal farts are contributing more to global warming than all cars on Earth combined. And yet, why don't you hear that why is that not presented with the rest of the climate change conversation? Well, it's because it's being used as a weapon against certain, it's being weaponized. Which leads you to wonder, does our system or our power structures, do they even care about these things? Like racism is weaponized, you know, sexism is weaponized to intentionally divide people and intentionally cause problems for certain people and certain industries. Is there even a real care about it? That's something I mentioned on when I changed my race. I actually ripped the Black Lives movement pretty hard. I'm like, you know what? All I see is, you know, my thought is if you really care about Black lives, you know, why don't we get over into, why don't we get to helping all these brothers and sisters in Africa? Why, you know, I saw a Black Lives rally at St. Petersburg Pier, and all they were talking about is they were just hating on police the whole time. I didn't hear anything about helping brothers and sisters learn how to take better care of themselves, you know, get better access to education, you know, change. I didn't hear any of that stuff. All I heard was hate. You know, these police officers are terrible. We need to defund the police. I'm like, yeah, I would think logically, if you think somebody's life matters, you would want to prepare them for success, not tear down. You know, it doesn't make logical sense. If Black Lives Matter, let's feed these brothers and sisters that are starving to death in Africa because they don't have enough food. There's a lot of Black lives that matter a lot to me over there. Do you even hear conversations about that? Ooh, I think that particular point really pissed somebody off. And you can see it's just being weaponized. Which leads you to question, you know, are these things that are presented, are they really things that are genuinely cared about, or are they just used to manipulate the population? Now, my goal is to encourage skepticism and doubt in all mainstream narratives. And promote trust among regular people and work together. You know, to me, my neighbors, the people in my community, these are, you know, we want to work together and be unified, be one people, be one race, be, you know, one gender, so to speak. Like you often hear, well, women and men don't get paid equally. Well, maybe in some situations. However, women's rate of pay has actually consistently went up over the last 50 years, whereas men on average have stayed pretty flat. I never hear that mentioned. Like, why have men's wages remained pretty flat over the last 50 years while women's wages have went up? I mean, in theory, shouldn't everyone's wages have went up? Are men getting overpaid? Maybe women just aren't so materialistic. Maybe women are nicer. You know, like, I don't think we should be all about equal outcomes. We need to be about equal opportunity. Like, you got the race narrative, and diversity is so fake to me. Like, oh, we need, why is race, why is your skin color representative of diversity? If everybody, you know, let's say you have a team of people and there's lots of different skin colors, but if everybody thinks the same way, that's not diversity. That's fake diversity. You know, I'd rather have people all together who think differently. That's true diversity. You know, you can have a black guy, a white guy, a Mexican guy, but if everybody's an ultra liberal or an ultra conservative, there's not much diversity there. But if, you know, if you get, I think it's racism to think that diversity, skin color and diversity are the same thing. It's silly. All right, Lisa, thanks for being here today. So I'm interested to see, can we make a world where we have more true equality and less, you know, less lies and deception and dishonesty. And I do the work myself. I speak from the heart. I speak whatever I feel is true, and I don't keep any secrets. And what I hope that what I'm doing inside is being reflected outside. That as I commit to truth and as I commit to presenting the accurate facts of my life, you know, that the external world will reflect that. Mr. Adam Nation Z, thank you for the first super chat on the live stream today. You get that top spot, my man. Katie says, have you beat this game before? This is my first time playing this game before. Anybody in the chat beat this game before? Whoa, he's got grenades now. Those are nice. Look, alright, so I wondered why they called it the Death and Rebirth. There it is. What up, Adam? Thanks a lot for the 5.
Mr. Adam Nations tipped $5 at youtube.com/Jerry Banfield. Good choice, Jerry. What do you think of this game so far?
I like it. Thank you for the $5 super chat helping make ends meet for my lovely YouTube channel here that we're all a part of. I'm loving this. This is a great, like, 2D platformer game. I like, you know, the graphics still look great. I like the flying mechanic. How you can just go up in the air. That's pretty cool. Like, this is a solid Super Nintendo beat-em-up game that is still worth playing today. I saw somebody play this on YouTube, which is why I wanted to play it. And I don't like I get a little scared being controversial, you know, because I think it's important we consider diverse points of view, and where it seems most of us collectively are lacking is in the diverse point of view department. You know, that, hey, maybe I could think of it this way, or maybe I could think of it that way. Like, to me, that's where we really need diversity, is seeing different ways we could think about things. Yeah, this is a beautiful game, Adam. Thanks for putting in 5 to help pay for it. This game was $78. I bought it because, I mean, I'll trade it in after I played it too for maybe $20 to $40. I saw it on YouTube. I'm like, this is a beautiful game. I want to give this thing a try. Yeah, grenade 'em. Let's go. Yeah, the flying mechanic in it's really cool. And it's a nice game for me to be able to talk over too. And I don't claim to be right about the stuff I talk about either. It's just what I have to share is an important point of view to consider. I've read a lot of conspiracy books, and you know, it's hard to tell exactly what is verifiable and authentic versus kind of like what is more disinformation or chaos. But to me, the call to action is, let's make a world where we're honest with each other. Let's make a world where we focus on the most relevant facts. Like, if you want to talk climate change to me, I want to hear about everything that really contributes to climate change. Not just hear about certain industries getting attacked while other ones get ignored. I want to hear about all of it. Let's talk about, you know, how animal products contribute a huge amount to global warming. Let's look at some of the things we do that use a lot of... Let's look at how we can make energy. Nuclear energy makes a ton of power with almost no impact on global warming. But somebody's decided we shouldn't have nuclear energy. There's somebody up there doesn't like nuclear energy. You would not believe how much money gets wasted in nuclear energy. They'll build almost the entire nuclear plant, billions of dollars into a nuclear plant, and then just leave it unfinished. That's ridiculous. I mean, they'll spend years building 96% of a nuclear power plant and then just leave it. You know, there's so many regulations for it, and people will say, well, what about nuclear accidents? That they don't happen that often, and they're really not that bad when they do happen. You know, things like the Fukushima reactor were way exaggerated and overblown. Like, how many people really suffered from the Fukushima reactor meltdown? You know, versus how much it got so much negative attention because, hey, if you produce coal, if you're into coal and oil, nuclear is not a good thing for you. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Adams Nation Z, thank you for stopping by, dropping some love in form of money on the stream. Appreciate your helping make ends meet for us here. Yeah, it's funny. I get uncomfortable sometimes saying things that I know, you know, if you just take it by itself and throw it up in front of people, a lot of people would overtly hate on it. But I think it's really important in this culture to say that it's not racism or sexism or hate speech just because you don't like it. I think we need to be confronted with objectionable ideas and objectionable parts of reality. And really investigate and look at them. Yeah, this sequence is really cool right here. This is one of the better Super Nintendo games I've played lately. Now I'm wishing I'd devoted a little bit more time to it, but we got about an hour into it, which... I wonder if it gives you infinite continues, if I could just continue this indefinitely until I beat it. I also feel kind of obligated to, or I feel one way I can help is to present some of these ideas that, you know, if you have a regular job and you work at a company and you get a paycheck, you know, you can't say the stuff I say most of the time because you'll lose your job, but I can afford to say the stuff I say. I remember I was 2 years ago in the middle of the COVID insanity, you know, which from the very get-go, I'm like, there's something incredibly dishonest that's going on here. You know, yes, there's certainly some facts that are being presented, but, you know, from the very beginning, I'm like, there's something really dishonest going on here. And I will not comply. I will not comply with anything at all. No masks. I will not stay in my house. I don't care what the law says. And I felt like I was doing the absolute right thing, even though some people didn't agree. And I made posts online sharing those opinions, and people got really upset. Some people did. But other people came to me and said, Jerry, thank you for saying that. I totally agree with you, but I couldn't post that on my social media because I'd get fired if I said that. But just to let you know, thank you for saying that. You know, you've got friends that fully agree with you. So I love that I'm in a position, and I want to be in a position to be more discreet about these things. Because honestly, somebody that doesn't even know me at all, they probably don't really need to hear my opinion about anything. But if you've watched a bunch of my videos and you you feel at home here, then you're in a spot where it might be valuable to hear my thoughts on something. Even if they're totally disagreeable with yours. I think what we want to see is Republicans and Democrats making love to each other, not war. My wife is I would say, my wife is pretty liberal. I wouldn't put her into the ultra, she's not extreme liberal, but she's somewhere between moderate liberal and extreme liberal. And she's so well either chosen or programmed, she just knows the position on everything. And I tend to run pretty libertarian. I think we should try and interfere with each other as little as possible. You know, most of us don't like having somebody else impose their will on us. So I prefer not to impose my will on other people. But generally, I am, about as conservative probably as my wife is liberal. And it's a great balance because her position encourages me to rethink my position sometimes. And I am not. Now, my wife is a pretty much, she'll vote straight Democrat on the ticket. You know, almost not even caring about anything except that. Whereas I'm willing to vote more bipartisan. I think one of the worst things we can do is pick teams in politics. Which is why I took a few months to explore getting involved in local Republican politics, and I changed my party affiliation to from no party to Republican. And it really drove home, like, you know, I backed out of being involved with my local Republican Party when, you know, if you want to be a precinct committee person, you need to agree that you will not support a Democratic candidate. And I think that's crap. Like, you know, I think the most important issue we can work on is our financial system. Because think about it this way, people who are struggling financially are a lot more easy to manipulate and mess with. People who've got FU money, like me, are not so easy to mess with. Because I don't have a job to be fired from, so my employer is not shutting my mouth. I don't need money on a daily basis, so I'm free from the system that most people are stuck in. Which is why I can say all the stuff I say. Now, I'd like to see a world with many more people free to say anything. It seems to me a lot of us are muzzled by our employers, by our reputation on social media, and I'm grateful I'm not. I can say whatever I want to, and I have been saying whatever I want to for quite a while. It's just, putting it as the title of a live stream is not a good idea if I like money. And just for consistency, you know, a lot of the dedicated followers aren't gonna watch every single live stream, you know? And if you hear what I say in context, it makes sense. But if you just see one headline, it's easy to get upset. Have you ever had any additional ideas on how to grow on YouTube? It seems the number one thing to grow on YouTube is just be consistent over a long period of time. And to offer something that is not usually offered. You know, most people do not want to have the conversations I have on my YouTube channel. And most people do not want to play a different game every day on their YouTube channel. So I think there's huge opportunity for me to grow on YouTube by basically doing what other people don't want to do. Other gamers don't want to play other games every day. And, you know, basically learn the game, look stupid, you know, make beginner mistakes, always be a student. You know, most people don't want to do that. And most people don't want to be so risque in the things they talk about either. You would not believe how muzzled the top influencers generally are. I got a little taste of being one of the top streamers on Facebook. And I just kind of waded into it with, you know, they gave me this contract that listed all kinds of subjects I could not talk about. And that's something that you don't realize. And this is why I'm so into helping small streamers. Because small streamers are free. Small streamers are free from direct control. Whereas the bigger you get to, the more influence you get to have online, the more people and power structures are interested in controlling what you say. And the Facebook partner contract restricted all kinds of things I was not allowed to talk about. And at the time, I just wanted to be a partner so bad. I'm like, oh, that's fine. I don't need to talk about this. Don't need to talk about that. And they were literally like one-liners where you specifically could not put an opinion out against their point of view. Like, there's no room for like debate or, you know, it's like you agree not to do this, you agree not to do that, you agree not to say this. And there were a bunch of them. And now I was not offered a top partner level contract. I imagine the higher up you get, the more things they have laid out in those contracts that you're not allowed to talk about. And just imagine a whole system where that's how it is. That there's all these topics you're not allowed, you are literally have agreed not to take the counterpoint of view on. And one thing, I will not sign another non-disclosure agreement. Anything I do needs to be public. If I get paid a certain amount of money, if I've agreed not to talk about a certain subject, that needs to be public knowledge. What I see is, I would imagine almost, or a huge amount of people that have, you know, that are big influencers, media personalities, almost everybody has metaphorical tape over their mouth. They're not allowed, for example, you know, during the last 2 years, it seemed like if you looked at the media that everybody was all thinking the same way. And that, yeah, there were some people that kind of crazies thinking the other way. That's just because that was pushed through power structure. That was not real people's consensus on the right thing to do. That was forced through power structure. That people in power sitting there saying, you're not allowed to in any way discuss a different possibility than what we've given you. And if you do, you will lose your money. You will lose your status. I mean, you can see exactly what happened to me. You know, I say I changed my race during Black History Month. Even though I said it very nicely and it made it very clear that I was coming from a position of love and joy and authenticity, that didn't matter. I spoke out against a certain narrative. I spoke out, you know, against the racial narratives. And you can see the price I paid for that. Now imagine the entire system, all the media you get except from small creators is given just like that. Everyone in the news all has their contracts signed, all is very accountable for what they say. If they say something way out of line, in many cases it'll actually get censored before you even see it. And in the most extreme cases, for example, secret government projects, you may be killed if you try and reveal the secrets of some of these ultra-secret government projects. And I'm hoping we can make a world that is based on equality and truth. Because we got a lot of deception and dishonesty and power moves going on right now. So just as long as you know that, you know, when you see a certain, there's always some topic too. Like the conversation lately has been heavily manipulated around inflation. From what I see, the facts say that, you know, the US dollar may be on a permanent downward trend. Which blows my mind that the dollar is actually up relative to other currencies. I'm like, y'all don't see where this is going, do you? Oh, Kung Fu, alright, I'm just about to wrap this up. Well, I'll see if I can answer a couple of extra questions. Alright, Steve, I'm glad we're in agreement on voting for policy and not just voting along party lines. What's up, Blaze? Nice to see you today. Alright, so I got a question we'll answer and then we'll wrap this up right here. Alright, so Kung Fu Classics asks, what do you learn from coming online every day, which 99% of creators don't do, and yet the views don't improve? Well, the main thing I've learned is you need to think long-term and not short-term. You know, I've been creating online for 11 years, and I've thought too much about short-term views and not enough about long-term views. if you're just looking at concurrent viewers, you're not looking at the right metrics. What you need to be looking at is meaningful quality views and interactions. Like, we've had a very meaningful and quality chat here, and my gaming videos are getting, you know, thousands of views every week, even though they were a minority of what I've done on my YouTube channel. And many of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel were not gaming ones. And the most popular live stream on my YouTube channel so far, almost nobody, I think it had 26 views or something like that while I was actually live. While I was actually live, it had like 26 views total. So 1 to 3 concurrent viewers all the time. That video got 700 and some thousand views over the next couple years. And especially, it took a few months to really get rolling, where it'd get like 5 views, 10 views a day, 20, 30 views a day, then 50, 100 views a day. And then it started cranking up to like 1,000 views a day. And it's really important, don't think short-term views and gratification. Think long-term vision, satisfying a true need in the community. Like, a true need in the gaming community is to be a dedicated variety streamer. That is one of the biggest minorities in the gaming community, is a dedicated variety streamer. Almost everybody, you know, the majority of gamers play a relatively small amount of games that often are played by a lot of other gamers, like Warzone, Apex Legends, PUBG. You know, there's a relatively small amount of games that almost everybody plays, and then there's all these other games that don't consistently have anybody creating anything for them. And then, yeah, so don't think short-term views and gratification. You need to think long-term vision. For example, I watched Mr. Beast. He did a video live on his 100 million subscriber stream, and he showed it took him a year to get to 100 subscribers. It took him another year to get to 1,000 subscribers. And it took a couple more years to get to 100,000. Now think about it. You know, this is one of the top creators on YouTube now. His first year, he was only able to get 100 subscribers. Like, clearly, he didn't have some amazing magnetic personality that everybody... He said he made just thousands of videos, and he appears to have taken most of them unlisted. And that's what most people do not get through, is, you know, the several years just to get to 1,000 subscribers. And I focused too much on results and not enough on what I would be giving over time. Like, I focus so much on what I'm getting. Focusing on results is a focus on what you're getting. And what I'm looking at now is, what am I giving? You know, what is really worthwhile? What am I going to do on my live stream today that'll still be worth watching in 5 years? Like, to me, this live stream, whether you're watching this in 2022 or 2032, like, it might actually be better to watch this in 2032, because it'd be interesting to see, you know, the game that I'm playing today will still be the same. So anybody indefinitely that wants some gameplay on this game, it'll still be the same. So what I'm looking at today is, you know, I'm focused totally on making a long-term vision for my channel. What would I love to give? You know, what can I give consistently over time that will be valuable to the collective gaming community on YouTube? The gaming community on YouTube does not need another Warzone streamer. It doesn't even need another regular variety streamer who, you know, plays the current game that is popular and then plays the next current game that's popular. It seems to me what the community really needs is a dedicated variety streamer. Somebody who's committed to variety and who plays all different kinds of games, new, old, and somebody who has a lot of, you know, who has a personality that is very engaging within the streams. And there's enough people working the controversial angle already. You know, you got Andrew Tate, Russell Brand, there's lots of people doing a great job working the overtly controversial angle. You know, you're not gonna like this. You know, their videos are totally focused on things I'm mentioning in passing. So I don't need to go that direction. It seems exactly what I'm doing now is what will be most valued I can give to the community, that the community will actually appreciate over the next 20 or 30 years, and something I can give with joy. You know, I don't enjoy grinding the same games out over and over again. I've done that so much in my life that, and I also want to match what I'm giving with what's needed. So it's important to take the focus, you know, is what I'm doing enjoyable today, and is it sustainable for the long term, and is it desired and necessary for the long term? Yeah, the views on this channel are going, I imagine they're gonna steadily just go up and up and up a little bit at a time, and then there'll be various points where it skyrockets. You know, I'll hit a certain game on the algorithm and then a bunch of new people will come in. And all these things will happen that right now look unexpected, impossible. People will share my videos. Gaming companies will share my videos to their page because there's not a lot of other people playing their game. And here I am playing it. So a lot of things are going to happen on this channel. So the most important thing is to focus on what's coming. I want what's coming to me. Focus on where you're going. Like driving, you spend most of you have a very clear idea of where you're going before you even leave. Before I left the house today, I had an exact picture of where I was going. And then I get there. I pay attention to the road, but I have an exact picture of where I'm going. And what I've done is I've made an exact picture of where I want to go with my YouTube channel. In 20 years, I want to have played 10,000 different video games. I want to be one of the only people in the world you can watch that has played a different game every day for 20 years. And that basically any game you would want to watch, I've played it. That you can have that consistency. And I want to be able to teach and promote in my videos. So I've made a very clear vision of where I want to go with my YouTube channel, which is something I have not done well with in the past. Steve says, what are a few examples of what you're not able to talk about? Steve, unfortunately, I've hinted at things as best I can. I signed a non-disclosure agreement, and Facebook has the right to sue me still if I violate if I give specific details. For example, if I say this is exactly what the contract said, that would violate my confidentiality agreement. Whereas I can just generally say there were things I wasn't allowed to talk about, and that does not provide a clear violation of the confidentiality agreement. But if I say they said this, and that, you know, if I read the contract exactly, I mean, even if I read the exact contract, there probably wouldn't be a problem. But out of respect, I agreed not to talk about what they asked me not to talk about, specifically the partner contract, so I don't explicitly mention it. However, I will not get into a situation like that again. And if you've noticed some of the things I've been specific about in the last few months that I was not specific about for a year before that, you may be able to see some of the things that were prohibited in more detail. Yes, time and consistency and pattern recognition. I see that people want to watch this. What I see on my YouTube channel is that if you've watched my videos before, you tend to watch 2 to 10 times longer than somebody who has not watched my videos before. So if you watch my live stream after I'm live and you've already been watching, you're likely to watch 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of the live stream. But if somebody comes across my channel who's never seen me before, they often only watch like 3 minutes. However, with more consistency and repetition, people will be more familiar with me, which is why I've standardized my thumbnails now. Over time, the more familiar people get with me and the more someone finds me on one game, then sees me on another game, the average watch time will go up, the click-through rate will go up, and at some point, we'll hit a critical mass in a year, 5, 10 years. At some point, there'll be a critical mass where all my videos just come up all over the place. That's where we're going. And that actually helps me really enjoy the smallness of our community again. I have this feeling that this is the last time I get to be small again, where I know everybody's name in the chat. I know, Myrtle Ash, Steve Riley, we've had so many conversations. I know a decent amount about you and what we've talked. Kung Fu Classics. Kung Fu Classic says, I don't think Mr. Beast's the rule. I think he's the exception. Well, I tend to think of myself as the exception also. So to me, Mr. Beast is my example. But yes, most people that grind don't go down the path of Mr. Beast. What's up, Brandon? Nice to see you today. All right, my friends, the family's home. I think I can do a second live stream today. I love you each. Thank you for holding space for these conversations. I hope that I've communicated the importance and the desire to have a world based in equality, truth, and connection. And let's make that together. I'll see you soon. I'm glad we could keep streaming this even after the computer froze.